Welcome to the Connect Your Health to Life coaching podcast. I'm your host, Seth Lusk. I'm a master certified life coach and published author with a decade-long background working in the health, wellness, and fitness industry as a personal trainer, nutrition specialist, and life coach. If you're anything like me or the clients that I work with, then you might be struggling with some confidence issues or struggling with feeling like you're not living your most fulfilling or authentic life. You may be trying to figure out why you have these amazing desires for what your most fulfilling life would look like, but you can't seem to create consistent action in your life to reflect those desires. So join me as we dive in deep on what it means to truly live a fulfilled and authentic life from the inside out. We're going to look from the perspective of an empowered mindset and uncover some of the reasons why you might be what's holding yourself back from living that most fulfilling life. But don't worry, this isn't about blame, guilt, or shame. This is about empowering you to see. I'm going to break through some of the biggest illusions and myths that we've all been taught to believe along the way. And I'm so excited to have you with me on this journey. So my only question for you is, are you ready to start living your most fulfilling life once and for all? Then let's get started, shall we? Hey everyone, welcome back to the podcast. For those of you listening in for the first time, welcome. You picked a fascinating episode to join in on, and I truly mean that this week, and I mean it every week, but this week I'm particularly excited because I'm starting a little short series that I'm going to be doing today. This is going to be the first episode of that series where I talk about authenticity in health. So I'm going to start off just by defining for you all, authenticity is a really important thing for me as a life coach in my life in general, but this is one of the biggest things that I work with my clients on is creating an authentic and fulfilling life, including how we make decisions about our health. So that being said, I talk about authenticity quite a bit, and authenticity is basically just the quality of being of undisputed origin, original, or truly what something is said to be. That is authenticity, okay? And we're going to talk about why and how this applies to our health here in just a minute. But when we talk about health, so what does health actually mean? So health is the condition of being sound in body, mind, and or spirit. And being sound, what that means is in good conditions, not damaged, not injured or not diseased. So this is what being sound in body, mind, and or spirit. This is the definition of health. So when we talk about health, we can actually be talking about so many different things. We can be talking about the health of our life. And I talk about this quite often. I think people get confused when I talk about the health of our life, because most people, when we think about health, we think about the health of our body or the health of our brain. So we're thinking physical and mental health. But actually, the health of our life can involve more than just the health of our body and our mental health. It can involve aspects of our life, including our finances, our relationships, our authenticity, our connection to our life, our fulfillment in life. These are all aspects of a healthy life. And today, what I want to talk about is the decisions that we make surrounding our physical health. For those of you who don't know this about me already, you might be wondering, why in the world am I making a 3-part series about physical health? I'm a life coach, right? Okay, well, I was a personal trainer and nutrition specialist long before I took on the title of life coach. I have university degrees in exercise science, human nutrition, and in human psychology, so 3 different areas of study for me. And what I knew when I was in university is that I wanted to help people. I wanted to help people not suffer in their life in the way that I did for so many years as a kid, as a teenager, and even into my young adult life. So I went to university, I studied these 3 things. After graduating from university, I was hired I was hired before I even finished college. The job that hired me wanted me so badly. Technically, they weren't supposed to hire me until I already had my degree, but they were afraid that that they had a job position open. They needed it filled, and it was still going to be like another, I think, 2 months before I graduated. And the boss of mine actually worked in the department of kinesiology where I was studying at university, which kinesiology is the study of human movement, the human anatomy and physiology. And he wanted me so bad at this job, he got special permission from the dean of that department. He was like, is there any danger of Seth not possibly graduating in the next 2 to 3 months? And the dean was basically like, no, he could, I think at this point in time, completely slack off and fail his final exams and he's still going to graduate. And my boss was like, okay, that's all I need to know. So they got special permission to hire me before I graduated because they needed to fill this position at their work before 3 months from then. And they were afraid that if they didn't hire me, that what would happen is by the time another job opening opened up, I would already have another job and they wouldn't bring me on. And he really wanted me working there. So that's how I got my first job. And I was hired as a personal trainer and nutrition specialist. I was hired by a large hospital network in Jackson, Mississippi. And what I was doing was I was working in one of their wellness and rehabilitation centers. So they had in this building where I worked, it was a wellness center. They had physical therapy there. They had an optometrist there. They had a general practitioner working in the building. We had a daycare. We had, all of these sorts of things. We had massage therapy, all of these things all in one building. And then we had a gym in which we had nutrition specialists and personal trainers working. So I was hired to work in this wellness center as a nutrition specialist and personal trainer, or what they called an exercise specialist or fitness specialist is what they called me. So many of my clients were people who were recovering from surgeries or coming out of physical therapy because their insurance stopped covering the physical therapy. And so I was basically like the next step in their rehabilitating back into an active, healthy life that they wanted. So I did this job, and after years of doing this kind of work and helping people who came to me with fitness and nutrition and health goals, I started to notice that there was this really large gap in the areas of my clients' lives that I was able to reach and help them with this title of personal trainer or nutrition specialist. There was this other huge area of their life, and there was this gap in between what I was allowed to touch as a personal trainer or nutrition specialist and this other area of their life, dealing with their beliefs, their thoughts, their mindset. And remember, I studied psychology in school, so I could see all of this going on, but it was like I couldn't access it. I wasn't trusted by my clients to touch that part of their life because they saw me as personal trainer, nutrition specialist. This is the guy who makes me exercise, and this is the guy who tells me what to eat and what not to eat. That was like all they would allow me access to. And I was getting so frustrated because there was so much that I wanted to help them with. And I couldn't really, most of my clients wouldn't let me access these parts of their life that would allow me to truly be able to help them free themselves from this suffering and this feeling stuck in patterns in their life where they believed that they couldn't really get themselves free from these patterns in order to live that healthy and fulfilling life that they wanted to live. And I wanted access to those areas of life. And these patterns that they were in were destroying their physical, their emotional, their mental, and their spiritual health. And so when I saw this was when I took the step of going back to school to study and get my certification as a life coach. So I'm telling you this sort of bit of my backstory because I want to preface this episode, this series, with a bit of the reason why health is such a huge focus for me as a life coach. And I also want you all to have a little bit of background as to why I chose this profession and why I'm so passionate about helping people with living their most authentic, fulfilling, and healthy life and how they can do this unstoppably. So I've been working with people to understand, clarify, and unstoppably go after their authentic goals in life for a long time now. And this includes their health goals. I've been doing this for over a decade, and I can't even begin to describe to you all how much I love doing this work, how fulfilling I feel in doing this work with people. I love watching people step into their unstoppable power to show up in their life and create goals that they set out for themselves to create in their life and to manifest in their life. But most importantly, I get excited about showing them how to do this in a way that is for them and their unique and authentic and aligned purpose. I lost interest a long time ago in seeing people just accomplish goals with their health if it's not authentically theirs. And I have seen so many people do this in their lifetime. I've seen the aftermath, the byproducts of this journey of going after goals that are not authentic for them and even achieving them. And it no longer interests me to see people go after these goals or even reach these goals only to turn around and look at their life and wonder why it is that they still feel no more fulfilled, they feel no more lovable, no more acceptable or worthy than they did to begin with. And then usually what ends up happening is they go right back to old, familiar, comfortable habits that created the dysfunction in the health of their life and their body to begin with, which is why they came to me. So when I work with people, when I work with them as a client of mine, I am very stringent with them in the uncovering process of what their true desires and goals are for their life and their health and their body. Before we even begin thinking about starting doing anything that is quote unquote work to begin creating this in their life, I spend so much time helping my clients understand what it is and get really clear on what it is that they authentically and truly want in their life. Not what it is that they believe they should have or that will make them happier or feel better about themselves or any of this. It's what their true desires are. And I help them get clear on what that means, what that is, and what it looks like in their life for them and how this applies to all of the different areas of their life and the health of their life and how they can show up, create these goals, and manifest them unstoppably. I'm here to help people step into their authentic, healthy life and see it through the lenses of purpose, intention, empowerment, and self-love. I'm not interested in this self-hate, self-disgust model of shame and guilting ourselves into changing things about our lives. I've seen what it does in my own life. I've seen what it does in millions of other people's lives. Not interested in that anymore. I know where that goes, and it's not where I'm taking my clients. And if you don't believe me, you can talk to some of my clients and ask them what I mean when I say I do this differently. I take this approach very differently, and I take this very seriously when I say I spend the most diligent amount of time helping my clients to uncover for themselves what they authentically want in their life and help them to see what that truly means for them, separate from any other internalized beliefs and thoughts that they have taken on throughout their life as a child, as a teenager, as a young adult. I teach them how to separate themselves from all of that and see what it is that they truly want out of their life, including their health. And this is a lot of the work that I do with my clients is about uncovering and seeing this life purpose, these values, these core sensitivities clearly, the ones that are authentic for them so that they can create a clear vision for themselves of where they truly desire to go with their life and how they plan to do it in a way that aligns with all of this, the purpose, the values, the sensitivities, and the true desires in life. And because of my background in exercise and nutrition, people want to ask me too, quite often, and we usually end up doing and spending quite a bit of time working on creating healthy lifestyle habits that support them in their authentic path forward in their journey in life. And this is for people that come to me wanting to work with me on creating their business, someone who is feeling lost and purposeless in their life, someone who is struggling with showing up authentically in their relationships with their friends, with their family, with their work colleagues, or their romantic relationships, people wanting to heal their emotional wounding surrounding their childhood. There are so many reasons that people come to me for work as a coach, but we almost always end up addressing healthy lifestyle habits too. And then, of course, there are people that come to me for those healthy lifestyle habits as being the reason why they're coming to see me. And I help almost all of my clients in addressing these healthy lifestyle habits and how they're going to support the authenticity and the health of their body and their life in their authentic journey. And this is what I want to talk with you all about today. What I want to begin opening up in this series is this component of the work that I do. And what I see so many people suffering and struggling with in their lives. And while I'm only one person And I can't help everybody. I'm not supposed to help everybody. I don't feel the calling that I need to help everybody, but I feel the calling and the pull to want to help as many people as I can in this life to free themselves from this cycle of internal abuse that we have internalized and adopted as our way of approaching our health and how we take care of our bodies. The area of looking at one's life and health of the mind and the body, and then making decisions based in purpose, values, and authenticity of how we truly want to care for these components of our life. That is what I feel called and led to do with my time in this life. And it may sound like at first as I'm saying this, it's so obvious, right? Like, how do we do this? This is, oh, come on, Seth, it's so obvious. We all know how to make these decisions and decide what it is that we want. But here's the thing. I would say that about 90% of people on this planet have almost zero clue of how to do this. And that 90% is a very conservative estimate. I'd say it's probably closer to 100%. But I'm going to say 90% of people on this planet have almost zero clue of how to go about this process. Or they have zero clue that they're actually struggling with this area in their life. They think that they're doing everything that they're supposed to, quote unquote, be doing to take care of their health and should be doing, quote unquote, to take care of their health. And, this frustration and this feeling trapped and this feeling stuck and this giving up and starting over and giving up and starting over is just, that's how life is supposed to, quote unquote, be. And it's supposed to feel restrictive and it's supposed to feel, like we're depriving ourselves when we want to take care of our health. That there are so many people out there that have zero clue that this is actually something that they're struggling and suffering with, and that there's another way. So I think that it's important that we start opening this up and talking about it. And there are many reasons why people struggle with this and don't realize that they're struggling with this, making authentic choices when it comes to our health. I think there are also many reasons why people don't recognize that they're not making authentic decisions about their health. We live in a society that uses shame, guilt, comparison, self-hate, self-disgust, self-loathing, and, this external comparison and judgment and conditional worth as being our ways to motivate change within ourselves. And I've said it so many times, I can't say it enough. This in and of itself creates a huge reason why so many people are making inauthentic goals for their health. When we look at weight loss, for instance, there is so much shame and guilt culture surrounding this one area of health in our bodies. There's so much comparison and confusing data in this area too. What's a desirable body type? What is a healthy body type? What should we, quote unquote, be aiming for when it comes to the size of our bodies and how much muscle definition we have, how much muscle mass we have, how much we should weigh? The standards are not only so varying and all over the place, they change constantly as far as what is socially accepted by the masses as being the type of body and what we should be aiming for in taking care of our bodies. As a coach, I have people come to me with weight loss goals, more than probably any other kind of health goal out there. And I would say about 90% of the time, the weight loss goal that is presented to me by these people is coming from someone they saw lose weight, or an article that they read somewhere in a magazine, or online from some social media website, or from a comment that someone made to them about their body, or a comment that they heard someone else say to someone else about someone else's body, or that person's body. These goals that are presented to me when I ask my clients, when I ask them about why they want this weight loss, it is almost always rooted in getting other people to find them attractive, to find them worthy. It's all about proving something to someone else or to a society, or feeling like we fit into a mold that we believe that we need to fit in order to be acceptable by society. Feeling like they are attractive enough by some standard that they're not even certain why this standard is important for them, or how it fits into what they truly value in life. They have zero clue about this. And basically what it boils down to is that these clients want to feel good enough about their body. And they're making decisions about their health based in a belief that their body is not good enough, not attractive enough, not skinny enough, not light enough, not small enough, not muscular enough, not lean enough. And the belief of why achieving this is going to help them to feel attractive enough, worthy enough, good enough. And most of these people, this belief is rooted in some societal standard, or a comment from a parent, a comment from a grandparent, a comment from an aunt or an uncle, a comment from a peer when they were a kid or a teenager, maybe a friend of theirs. But none of it is authentic to their truest desires. They haven't even considered what their truest desires are for their health. It's all based on out there and what other people are saying and what other people are thinking and what other people are going to think about them when they reach this goal. It's simply about wanting to feel like they're good enough, like they're worthy enough, and trying to prove something out there to get it. We can also look at other areas of health when it comes to this. We could talk about skin and hair, for instance. I see so many people having these goals for their skin and their hair so that they stay looking like they're in their 20s when they're in their 40s, 50s, 60s, so forth. There is this idea that somehow wrinkles and gray hair or thinning hair is not only a sign of a lack of health, but also a sign that they're becoming less valuable, less worthy as a person, less attractive, less desirable. I see people chasing this quote-unquote fountain of youth as their health goal and it's because they want to feel like they're good enough. They want to feel like they're allowed to love themselves as they age. And they think that the way to do this is by fighting the aging process. It's not because, they want to take care of themselves because they feel good. They want to resist the aging process so that they feel like they're allowed to feel good about themselves. It's simply about the appearance of youth and this societal belief that youth is more desirable and more valuable, and the loss of youth means you're less desirable, less valuable, less worthy. I see people chasing this goal and trying to stay looking forever young and going through these outrageous diets and skincare regimens and surgeries, and all in an attempt to do this, especially, my friends, in the LGBTQ community, the gay men that I see in the gay homosexual male community. I see so many men fighting the aging process because they're terrified of getting older and no longer being sexually desirable because they feel like that's what their worth is based in. So I see it there. I see it with women who are terrified of letting their gray hair show or terrified of getting some wrinkles on their face. Men who are terrified of losing their hair and going bald and, trying everything they can to try and hide the fact that they're going bald. There's just so much judgment and disgust for the body and its natural aging process that it's designed to go through surrounding these goals. These goals are rooted in resistance to the reality of what our physical body is designed to go through. These goals are rooted in judgment of the body. It's not about love. It's not about authenticity. It's not about what people want in life. It's about resistance to the process of having a physical body in this life. And I see people also giving up on taking care of themselves entirely and just, purposefully doing things to harm their body because at least that feeling distracts them from the feelings of disgust that they would have if they feel like they have to chase after this fountain of youth. There's no in-between of love and compassion for the body and taking care of it in a way that honors the body, that helps the body to feel good and age with grace and strength and with the natural process that the body is supposed to go through with aging, not this aging of disease from overeating, trying to distract ourselves from how much we hate ourselves and our body. I see this going on over and over again in people's health goals, that somehow having a more youthful appearance is going to validate their worthiness. When it comes to exercise, we can talk about exercise. I see similar patterns here too. I see people hitting the gym, especially at the beginning of the year, New Year's resolutions. And they come in with these goals of, quote unquote, getting serious about taking care of their body because they saw someone that they know lose a ton of weight, or they saw someone they know, or some celebrity their age talking about exercise routines and how their body is so fit and healthy now because of it, and coming in and having these goals, these pictures of six-pack abs, cinched waist, big biceps, broad muscular shoulders, curvy perky butts, thin thighs, thigh gaps, toned legs, broad muscular backs, ripped jacked chest muscles, smooth toned bellies for bikinis. Social media and fitness magazines give us millions of these images of what a worthy, sexy, attractive, healthy, active, fit body should, quote unquote, look like. And I see people coming into the gym with this determination to beat their body into submission at the beginning of every year, and that they're going to win over their body and, finally get that attractiveness, And I see it happen every year. And I watch these people as they force themselves to just show up at the gym every day having no idea why it is that they authentically want to be there. All they know is that they want to be able to feel good and love themselves in the body that they're in. And they think the only way to do it is to show up at the gym and beat themselves up constantly and, deprive themselves of food and torture themselves in the gym and pain and, restriction, and that's how we get our bodies to be acceptable and lovable enough and sexy enough and attractive enough and get the attention that we want. And I see people doing this and feeling so stuck and miserable in resistance to themselves and fearing what's going to happen. What happens when my willpower gives out? Am I going to go back to these old habits and have to hate myself again? They're so terrified of themselves and their judgment of their own bodies, and that's what their health goals are rooted in. It has nothing to do with an authentic desire of how they want to take care of themselves. It's a fear of wanting to get away from their self-judgment because they act like they have no choice in the matter but to judge and hate themselves. Because look at what GQ magazine says about what a guy's body is supposed to look like. Look what Elle magazine says about what the perfect cinched waist size is supposed to be like, and what thigh gaps are supposed to look like, and why we should want them, and what toned legs we should want to have for bikini season, and how to get rid of that cellulite, because Lord forbid you show up on the beach with cellulite and people are going to look at you and you're going to have to look at yourself and hate yourself for having that cellulite at the beach. Don't you want to get rid of it before then and skip that judge? So much of people's health goals are rooted in this self-disgust and resentment and resistance. And here's the thing. Exercise is great. There are so many benefits to exercise emotionally, physically, mentally. The relationship we can build with ourselves when we exercise in a way that is genuine for us and our true health and our true desires for how we want to express and show up in our lives. It has so many benefits. I'm not at all saying that we shouldn't exercise, that we shouldn't want to, have goals for our health that involve us showing up at the gym and exercise. That's not what I'm saying. Our bodies are designed to move and work. What I'm here to talk about today is how we are creating our goals and our motivation to do so. All of it is based in this model of disgust and guilt and shame and comparison and judgment. It's based in conditional worthiness and based in these inauthentic false desires that are about doing something to prove our worth so that we can hurry up and get back to feeling comfortable enough to love ourselves. I could go on and on about the goals people make for their health, their sleep, their alcohol consumption, sun exposure, hydration, diets, exercise, relaxation, stress management, hair and skin care, flexibility, strength, endurance, whatever, etc. We could go on and on. And I'm not here to say that having any of these kind of health goals is somehow bad or wrong. I'm not here to say that we don't want to set goals for our health that involve all of these things. What I am here to say is that the way that we go about doing this, none of us are actually setting goals for our health. The goals we are setting are not for our health. They are for proving our worth to the world by manipulating our health in some way. They are goals to achieve validation. And these, my friends, are never authentic. They are goals of us seeing someone else's standards that we have internalized as our own without examining if we even want them or how we want them to be ours and why. And then we go about disgusting ourselves and pushing ourselves and willpowering ourselves and resenting ourselves into changing and manipulating our health and our bodies so that we can finally feel like we're good enough. And look at where it gets us. We end up feeling this disempowered, resentful, restricted, shameful, disgusted, annoyed, yo-yoing bounce back and forth, feeling out of control, and an outright denial of our intentional obliviousness of the health of our bodies. This is where it's brought us. And I'm here today talking about this because I want to start opening doors to a new era when it comes to our health. An age of setting goals for our health that is authentic to our true purpose in life. A new standard for health goals. That standard is authenticity. My friends, our bodies are vastly unique and different from one another in so many ways. The beings inhabiting these bodies are even more unique and different in how we experience life in the world through these bodies. We are unique and different in what we are here to create and accomplish and contribute through this life. Why is it that we accept seeing this in so many other areas of life, like our career, our style, our personality, but we see our health as being this cut and dry, universally true standard of this is how it quote unquote should be kind of language of how to care for it? So what I want is that let's start today by looking at how we might be currently setting our goals for our health and why we're doing that and how it is that these are inauthentic. I want to leave you with some questions to begin asking yourself to recognize if maybe you are already, if you're setting inauthentic health goals for yourself. Or maybe you're already aware that you are making inauthentic health goals. So these questions might help you to clarify just how inauthentic your health goals are or why they are so inauthentic. That's what I want to take today's episode to do. I want to begin looking at what it looks like when we set inauthentic goals for ourselves, how we can recognize that in our own life and if we're doing it. And remember, authenticity is, again, the quality of being of undisputed origin, original, or truly what something is said to be, okay? And we're talking about how this applies to our health. So I would like for you to start by just looking at a goal of yours that you might have for yourself with your health. It could be something about weight loss. It could be something about feeling healthier, feeling more vibrant, feeling stronger, feeling more active, it might be about losing weight, fitting into a certain size dress, getting rid of body fat. It could be so many different things. I want you to think about a goal that you have with your health. Or maybe you've already chosen to see a goal as being completely pointless to chase after because you've tried and given up so many times. So let's look at that goal. Because I can almost guarantee you that authenticity played a huge role, a huge factor in why you gave up on that goal. So if you have one of those goals, let's look at that goal. If you don't have a goal that you've tried over and over again so many times that you're feeling like giving up on, then just pick a health goal of yours, okay? Pick any health goal. And let's start by just asking some questions here. Asking why you have this goal. Why do you want this goal? I want you to think about that question. If you have time to sit down and write it down, that would be great. Why is it that you have this goal? Why do you want it? And here's what I want you to pay attention to in your answer. If your answer to this question is something along the lines of, I don't know, or it has, I should, or variations of should within the reason why. If the answer has something to do with someone, fill in the blank, did it, and look at how happy they are. If that's your answer. If the answer is, because I feel disgusted with my body. Or if the answer is because my body is so unhealthy. Or if the answer is something like I used to be so much skinnier, healthier, better looking, whatever. If you answer this question and it includes any of these or all of them or some variation of any of them, then my friends, this is a big sign that your health goal that you are setting is inauthentic. Okay? Because these are all based in conditional worth, based in self-judgment, based in comparison, based in shame, guilt, internalized standards of worth that come from other people or social groups that have been passed down from generation to generation to generation. A goal based in any of this is not authentic. Okay? Now, this doesn't mean that the authentic goal might not be very similar to that same goal. But when it's based in authenticity of your purpose, your values, your sensitivities in life, then the way you set the goal, the way you take steps to go after the goal looks and feels completely different. And we're going to talk about that more next week. So the next question I want you to ask yourself, when it comes to your health goal or goals, do you believe that you will finally be allowed to feel or believe something about yourself, your life, or your body once you achieve the goal? It could be a belief that you will feel attractive. You will feel like you're more likable, that you'll feel happier, that you will feel more comfortable in your body. Could be a belief that you will feel like you love your body finally, or that you will feel like your body or you are more acceptable. If you notice these sorts of beliefs or thoughts surrounding your goal, then this is an almost definite sign that your goal is based in something that is not authentic to you, your life journey, your purpose, your values, or your sensitivities in life. The last thing I want you to look at is to ask yourself about when it comes to your health goals. I want you to look at this. What sort of attention from other people or a certain someone else, what sort of attention are you hoping to get by achieving this goal? Is there a certain type of attention that you think that you're going to receive once you achieve the goal? Is there a certain type of attention that you would like to receive and you believe that achieving this goal will help you to receive this kind of attention? I want you to think of things like feeling like you'll get attention such as, oh, look at you, you're so motivated. Oh, look at you, you're so young and healthy. Oh, you're so thin. Oh, you're so dedicated. Maybe it has to do with your youthfulness, your willpower. It has to do with, how attractive you are, how skinny you are, how dedicated you are. Any of this. If you notice a desire to receive a certain type of attention from a group of people in general, or from a specific person by achieving this goal, then I'm here to tell you that right now, that goal is not based in authenticity. It may not even be a goal that you authentically want once you really look at it. So I want to take some time here to give you all a real life example, because real life examples are going to be a bit helpful for you all to understand. I talk about a lot of theoretical stuff here in this podcast. And sometimes real life examples help people to relate a little bit more to what I'm talking about and see how this applies to real life. So, as I told you all before, I used to be only a personal trainer. I still do some personal training with my clients, but I only work with clients in personal training who have already worked through a coaching contract with me, so that we have clearly set goals. We know why those goals are important. We know how they align with our values, purpose in life, and then we can start working on some personal training and nutrition. But back when I first began working as a personal trainer, I noticed something, okay? I noticed the other male trainers that I worked with had much bigger arms, chests, shoulder muscles, and leg muscles than me. My boss hired me because he was like, you have such a massive understanding of the human body and how it works and how exercise helps. He was like, I've not seen a college graduate with this much knowledge of how to apply these theoretical concepts to how people are going to exercise and eat and take care of their bodies. And so he basically hired me because of my understanding of how to apply this. So I was kind of like, I always saw myself as being like the nerd of the personal trainers. All of the other personal trainers came to me to ask me, to look at their workout programs and show them how they could improve it for their clients. But here's the thing. The clients, I noticed, because the guys that I was working with, I was just this thin, lean, athletic-looking, tall guy that knew a whole lot about exercise, knew a whole lot about the body, knew a whole lot about diet and how it worked with exercise and what sort of exercises to give people with injuries and how to help them come back from injuries and how to be careful to avoid injuries during training. And I noticed, the guys that worked with me, like I said, they had these bigger arm muscles, these bigger chest muscles, bigger shoulder muscles, stronger looking legs. And I noticed them getting all of the guy clients who wanted to get fit and big and bulk up. And then they would come to me to help them with the workout programs to work with these guys. But these guys would never come to me to ask me to be their personal trainer. I usually ended up with the female clients that wanted to lose weight. And I was like, oh, I guess it's because I'm thin. And so I got this idea built up in my head that I was not being taken serious as a personal trainer, that I needed to prove that I was just as capable as these bigger, muscular ex-athletes from college, personal trainer guys that I was working with at helping these guys in the gym. I wanted to be taken more seriously, so I set out on this goal for myself to gain a bunch of muscle. And I picked one of the personal trainers that I worked with, and I asked him to work with me. I asked him to help me push myself to get these bigger muscles and to tell me, what exercises to do and to push me harder. And I worked hard for about a year or more. And I worked much longer than that, but it was about a year, a little bit after a year. I was very willful and stubborn, and I could generate a lot of willpower to do this. So I stuck really, really hard with this for about a year, and I worked harder and harder. And at the end of this year, I could really see a difference in my body. I was bench pressing as much as most of the other guys that I was looking at. I was doing as many pull-ups. I could compete with them in workouts and sometimes even outperform them in these workouts. And I started noticing changes in my upper body. I started noticing my arm muscles, and I was getting compliments about them. I was getting, comments on them and how much bigger my arms were looking, but it never felt like enough. And this carried on for years, my friends. I obsessively went to the gym and spent hours upon hours, 5 to 6 days a week, sometimes 7 days a week, wearing down my muscles in the gym and then going home and chugging protein shakes and creatine and to help my muscles grow. I went to the gym when my muscles were screaming for me to literally stop going to the gym. And I was like, no, I've got to resist my body. I've got to get there. I've got to beat my body into submission. I ended up with so many overuse injuries in my shoulders and my elbows and my wrists and my knees and my back. But I felt this need to prove to people that I was a respectable personal trainer by getting more and more muscle. During this time was when I had my huge aha moment. I was going through my divorce and discovering life coaching, and I had gone back to school to study to become a life coach, and I discovered the power of mindset and beliefs in creating and setting authentic goals for myself. This is when I started to recognize that what I was doing to myself in the gym was not at all for me. It was not a goal that I authentically had. It was a goal that I created based in this feeling of needing to gain respect because I wouldn't respect myself. It was in this idea of that I was not good enough as a personal trainer until, the right number of the right kind of guys that I thought looked more like personal trainers than me gave me the respect or told me that I was a respectable personal trainer. It was based in a lot of I shoulds. It was based in a lot of resistance. It was based in a lot of me being disgusted with my body for being thin, for being tall, for being... words that came to mind at that time were lanky because people used to call me lanky all the time in high school. I even had people that used to call me Gumby when I was in high school because I was so tall and lanky, whatever. So it was all of my goals were based in this need to gain attention and respect from other people. It was a goal that was based in comments that I could get about my muscles and believing that those comments would make me feel more likable, more respectable as a person. And what I did at that time is I looked at myself and my body. I could feel how tired, how scared, how resentful and ready to cave my body was. I could feel the injuries that I had given myself, that I was just trying to push through and take ibuprofen and do whatever I could to resist because I needed to get bigger. I needed to get leaner and look more like a personal trainer, look more like the part. And I decided to make a decision at that point in time, and I was terrified to make this decision. I was terrified because I knew that, or at least I thought I knew, that I was going to lose respect, and that meant I was less respectable. So I made the decision at that time to just stop. I stopped going to the gym. Not because the gym was bad. It was because I had no idea why I wanted to be there for me. I had no idea why I wanted to be there for my values and my purpose in life. I had no idea why I wanted to be there because I already loved me. Every reason why I wanted to be at the gym was because if I went, then I could possibly love myself. Then I could possibly be happy with myself. Then I could possibly feel good enough. None of it had to do with why I already loved myself. My reasons for going to the gym were based in why I was disgusted with myself, why I didn't like myself enough, what I needed to do to like myself more. So I stopped going. I lost muscle. Some of you that watched me on social media may have even noticed it. My clients noticed it for sure, though, especially the ones that saw me in person. A few of them even made comments that to me felt, because of my insecurity surrounding this, they felt very rude and hurtful to me. And when I heard these comments, I wanted to jump back in the gym and prove to them that I was still a respectable personal trainer, that I was still just as strong, just as able to help them with their goals. But I decided, no, what my purpose is right now, what my purpose is has to do with compassion and understanding and love. And me jumping back in the gym to prove to these people that I'm a respectable personal trainer is me choosing to not understand myself, me choosing to not have compassion for myself, me choosing to not love myself because I need to prove something before I'm allowed to do that. And so I chose not to. I chose not to go to the gym. I lost one of those clients that made one of these comments. And I still to this day don't know for sure if it's because they stopped respecting me as a personal trainer or what it was. But to be honest, I chose that it didn't matter. I was not going to let that, my belief about this other person's comments or thoughts about me, to be a reason why I would step off of this path that was for me and go back to the gym just to prove something to them, to keep them feeling like I was worthy enough. Because I knew I needed to learn to see for myself why I am already worthy enough just as I am before I start going out there and trying to make changes to my body and myself. I was not going to let these comments, these people, and my beliefs about what they were thinking about me to determine what path I chose to take. And I'm going to talk with you all more next week about how it is that I genuinely went about discovering what it is that I truly wanted and finding my authentic path forward into caring for my health. But the reason why I share this example for you guys is because I want you to see here how I was using these same things that I was just talking to you all about, this disgust, this shame, this guilt, this fear, this conditional worth as my reason for showing up in the gym. I was afraid of what the camera lenses on social media would make people think about my ability to be a personal trainer. I was afraid of the people that made the comments about how good my big muscles in my arms and my shoulders and my chest looked, that they would stop liking me and stop giving me the respectful attention if I lost that muscle, if I stopped going to the gym. So I just had to keep building and building and working and pushing, all because of something that I wanted to feel about myself that I felt like I was not allowed to feel about myself until it was validated enough times by the external world. And no matter how much validation I received, it was never enough. Because the truth was, it was my decision to feel those things about myself. And I was not letting myself feel it because I believed that I had to do these things and keep achieving in order to feel those things. So none of my goals for my health were in an authentic, aligned way for what my purpose in life was, what my true values in life were. My reason why I was chasing after those goals was not authentic for me. So next week, I'm going to talk with you all a little bit more about me finding my authentic path forward into caring for my health, because I go to the gym now. And I'm back at going to the gym and taking, working out and exercising, but I do it from such a different perspective and in such a different way. And we'll talk about that next week. But for this week, what we're talking about is recognizing when our health goals are not authentic, or at least the reason why we're chasing after them is not authentic. For me, with working out at the gym, my whole reason for doing it was for attention, for being seen as a real man that was worthy enough to be seen as a man, because I had so many internalized beliefs from my childhood and the religion that I grew up in and the social climate that I grew up in, that because I'm a homosexual male, that I'm somehow less of a man. And I needed to make my body prove that I was a man and that I was respectable and that I could help these other manly men reach their goals too, that I was good enough, that I was strong enough, that I was enough of a man to be respected and looked to as a source of being able to go into the gym and be a man. Like, this was what my goals were based in. My goals for my health were not about my health. They were about proving my worth and what I wanted to believe about myself to other people, and to prove who I am, and seeking attention and approval to be allowed to give myself permission to believe those things about what I wanted to believe about me. My goals were based in magazine articles that I read about how much a man of my height should possibly weigh, how much I should be able to bench press, how many pull-ups I should be able to do. My goals were based in seeing the guys who I felt proved to me that I was not good enough or not man enough. I needed them to approve of me, having the desire of them giving me permission to believe that I'm good enough and man enough now. I had my goals based in the attention I got when my arm muscles were growing. Even when the attention was coming from women who I had zero desire to be attractive to, just the attention, I needed that to prove that I was making myself better and more attractive, more manly, more, a good person, more worthy. And I just wanted to keep that attention, because that attention to me meant that I was maybe allowed to believe that I'm man enough now, but none of my goals were mine. None of my goals were about achieving something that I genuinely wanted to create for myself in my life. It was about fear. It was about disgust and shame. None of my goals were about what I wanted to do with my life. They were about what I should be doing with it and what I needed to do with it to prove to other people to be allowed to feel good enough. I needed to prove that my quote-unquote sinful life that the church had told me I was living was worth something, that I could do something good and worthy with it and be a real man. My friends, how many of you recognize something similar to this in your life? For my ladies out there listening, I have seen so many of my female friends out there punishing their bodies, trying to prove that they're sexy. And a woman based in this sexiness attention that they can get, having, just the perfect size and just the right amount of curves in just the right places. And then when they get there, they'll finally feel good enough about themselves and be allowed to love their body and feel comfortable in it. And to feel proud that this is their body and to love it for everything that it is. I see this happen so many times. Women with eating disorders, my female friends battling eating disorders just to try and get to a size, a certain weight, to prove that they're woman enough. For my non-binary friends out there, I've seen my non-binary friends suffering because they need their body to prove to the world what they want to believe about themselves. And they're waiting for the world to give them permission to believe about themselves what they already want to know about themselves, and they won't give themselves permission to know it. And so many of their goals for their body and their health are rooted in this belief that somehow external validation and the right attention from the right people will finally give them the feeling that they want to give themselves permission to have about themselves this whole entire time. And I'm not here to say that your goals need to change necessarily. I'm not here to say that you can't have those goals. But I'm here to say, maybe the goal isn't yours. Maybe it is. But what I want to be clear on is that going after that goal, when it's not attached to your authentic why, or when it's not your authentic goal, when it's not aligned with your authentic, truest, purpose-based desires in this life, not getting certain attention or, asking for validation to feel good enough, not because of some internalized belief about yourself and what you should quote unquote look like in order to be allowed to feel what you want to feel about yourself on the inside. It's not about what you should be doing with your body to be good enough. I'm talking about when your goal is based in your truest purpose and desires, because none of those are true desires. The reason you feel lost right now in your goals here with your health and with your body, the reason you feel disempowered and in a hurry to quote unquote get there and unable to enjoy loving yourself right now just as you are, even if you didn't change a single thing. The reason that you feel like this way, the reason why you feel like you can't offer that to yourself is because your goals are not based in authenticity. And I want to show you that there is a way to start there and go after your goals from there in such a peaceful, fulfilling, patient, and loving way that feels this way the entire through, not quote unquote once you get there. That's what I want you all to begin to see today. Are your goals based in inauthentic reasons why? Are your goals inauthentic in and of themselves? For how you want to care for your body, how you want to feel about your body, the health of your body. That's what I want you all to begin to see today. And I've got another episode coming to you all next week about what it looks like when we start applying authenticity to our health and the decisions that we make about our health. What that would even look like. We're going to talk about that next week. But for this week, what I want you to begin to see is that there is another way. There is another way that starts with authenticity. And you get to love yourself through the entire journey, not just once you get to a certain point. You get to feel good about yourself and your body through the entire journey, not just once you get to a certain point. And what I want you today to do is to begin seeing, are you doing this to yourself? Are you setting yourself up for these kind of health goals over and over and over again that are based in this shame, this guilt, this fear, this disgust model? Go back and go through those questions that I gave you to ask yourself about your health goals. Go through them this week. Really take a look at your goals. Really take a look at them. And then I want you to show up next week to be ready to hear about what it looks like when we actually start applying authenticity to our goals. My friends, that is all I have for you all this week. And what I really, really hope is that by listening to this episode, that you are able to listen to this and take away some insight into how your goals for your health and your body might not be based in authenticity, and that this could be the very reason why you feel all of this suffering and resistance and disempowerment around feeling like you can unstoppably create and live into those goals. Okay? That's what I want you to begin to see this week, is that a lack of authenticity is more than likely the reason why you're struggling with this and suffering with this so much. And then I want you to remember to tune in next week, where we will talk about what it looks like to create these goals for our body and health when they're based in authenticity. Okay? And the reasons why we're going after those goals being based in authenticity. I love you all so much. Okay? That's why I want to share this with you. I look forward to sharing more about this area of my work next week, and maybe even the week after. This may end up being a 3-part series. I'm not sure yet. I might be able to fit it all in next week. So what I hope is that some or most of you all go out there this week and begin seeing for yourself where you're not broken. There's not something wrong with you. And that why you feel like you're suffering in being able to create and go after health goals, why it is that you feel like you're unable to feel unstoppable and empowered and authentic and peaceful and present and full of self-love for the entire way through this journey. The reason why you feel that is not because you're broken and something is wrong with you. It's more than likely because your goals are either not authentic, or the reason why you're going after them is not authentic. And then, my friends, join me here next week to hear what it looks like to root your goals in authenticity. So until then, my friends, ciao. Hey, thank you for listening in this week. I hope you enjoyed the content of this episode. If you did, please subscribe or follow this podcast to receive the newest episodes every week as I bring them to you here on the Connect Your Health to Life coaching channel. Ratings, reviews, and comments are always appreciated. These allow me to know more of what my listeners would like in the podcast, and allow for more people who may be searching for a podcast just like this one to find the Connect Your Health to Life coaching channel. If you would like more information about me and the work that I do with my clients one-on-one, then please visit my website at www.slch.ch. Again, that is www.slch.ch. You can also find me on social media on Instagram at SethLusk_coaching. Again, that is SethLusk_coaching. And on Facebook in my free Facebook group community called A Healthy Life Connection. We would love to have you in the group, and it's only 3 membership questions that you have to answer to join. And again, it's entirely free. And if you need any further information or just want to say hello, feel free to send me an email directly at slusk.health@slch.ch. Again, that is slusk.health@slch.ch. Thank you again so much for listening, and I look forward to our next time together. Ciao.